Welcome into America's Retirement Headquarters, home of the Retirement Guys Formula and America's Medicare Associates. Securities offered through Peak Brokerage Services, LLC. Advisory services offered through the Retirement Guys Formula, a registered investment advisor. America's Retirement Headquarters, America's Medicare Associates, and the Retirement Guys Formula are separate and independent entities from Peak Brokerage Services, LLC. Thanks for joining us today here on America's Retirement Headquarters with Nolan Baker and Scott Kirshner, America's Retirement Headquarters, home of the Retirement Guys Formula and America's Medicare Associates. My name is Chris Swan, and like I said, we appreciate you joining us. On today's show, we're going to talk about the top 3 missteps in retirement and how to avoid them, and with the big game coming up, what we would say to a client that wanted to dip into their retirement to attend that once-in-a-lifetime sporting event. But first, let me check in. Nolan and Scott, how are we doing this week?
We are doing great. Always good to be here. It's just cold in Northwest Ohio, so
yeah.
It's a little chilly out there.
Got a little snow. I think we got, 4 or 6 inches of snow or something like that here a few days back. Recovering from that, but we're doing well.
Doing the most with what we've got and happy to be indoors and staying warm. But let's go ahead and jump in. And actually, before we jump into the meat of the show, you guys actually have a semi-annual economic update coming up, both in person and virtually. So let's tell the listeners a little bit about what you'll be covering and how that's going to work both virtually and in person.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we're all about education, so we're always doing different events for those people that are close by or those people that are far away. We've got access to the virtual events too. One of our most popular events is our semi-annual economic update, and the 2021 winter event is coming up February 17th. We do have 2 live in-person events here at America's Retirement Headquarters, a 10 a.m. and a 6 p.m. session. We do have limited seating, obviously, with the CDC guidelines, so if you want to register, I encourage you to do so right away. You can do that by going to americasretirementheadquarters.com, click on the events tab, or give us a call here at the office at 419-842-0550. But at the semi-annual economic update, one of the things that we're going to be talking about is some of the favorite stocks that we have and sectors, for 2021 with the markets and where we're at. We'll be talking a little bit about COVID, some of the political risks that are out there, ideas maybe on how to protect profits or ways to identify where there could be some opportunities out there. We're going to give you some economic data talking about what the record massive spending is. We'll be talking a little bit about the history of tax rates, talking about some strategies ultimately to try to detaxify your retirement account and get a better understanding of things like the double taxation that you have on Social Security. And, even talking about the double whammy effect it can have on things like higher healthcare costs. So it is probably one of our most popular events that we have coming up. Again, February 17th. We do have that. If you're ever looking for an event and you want to check out the events, again, you can always do so on America's Retirement Headquarters. Just jump over to the events tab. For those of you that maybe are listening after the fact, or maybe you're listening from out of town, because, we're obviously broadcast all over on all the podcasts. Mm-hmm. If you'd like to see this event and the replay of it, just stop over to YouTube. Again, on YouTube, type in America's Retirement Headquarters, and you can also watch this event virtually. We'll have it available up there for you. So if you'd like to watch it in the comfort of your home, you can do that on our YouTube channel. Again, America's Retirement Headquarters. So great event.
Again, that's coming up on February 17th, whatever you're most comfortable with, whether it is coming into the office and continuing the education that we impart here on the show at a more personal level, or attending it a little later on. Maybe you miss it or you are unable to attend because you are listening from elsewhere. Again, americasretirementheadquarters.com is the website. You can also search for America's Retirement Headquarters on YouTube and find it there as well. So let's go ahead and get in here, guys. We've always said that hope, not a very good retirement strategy, and the Motley Fool says that another misstep is actually assuming that some things about retirement are true when, in fact, they are not. Let's go through their top 3, and then if you want to add any extras on there, feel free.
Yeah, absolutely. Hope is not the way to plan for retirement. There's a lot of things that can go wrong, and hope isn't going to fix the things that go wrong. One assumption, you'll spend less on living expenses. Well, possibly. You may spend less on living expenses, but things go up in price, and the increased costs, with the economy and, the new administration, you just don't know what's going to happen. They're looking at $15 minimum wage. What kind of impact is that going to have on the market, on the cost, getting a hamburger at McDonald's or whatever your fast food choice is? So those are things that, yeah, you may spend less. Your utility bills may be a little bit lower, but there's a lot of things that come into play with that. And the other thing, assumption number 2, is Medicare is free. Well, part of that's true. Part of Medicare is free and can be, and you're looking at Part A in Medicare being free, but you've got expenses under Part B that, depending on your income, could be the minimum, or you could pay a significant amount, up in excess of $400 for your Part B premium, in addition to your out-of-pocket expenses and your deductibles and premiums. And one of the big things with Medicare is there's a lot of things that are not covered under original Medicare. For example, hearing aids. A lot of people, as we age, our hearing goes. I'm getting told that on a regular basis. I don't know if it's selective hearing or not, but I'm told you can't hear anything. And it's like, you're right, I can't. Vision, glasses. Just got a new pair of glasses, and, it's a $500 bill. So these are things that are not covered under original Medicare. Also, dental. Dental is an extremely expensive out-of-pocket expense. So those are things that are not covered. The way to cover those, obviously that's what I do, America's Medicare Associates. I help people get coverage for those items that are not covered under original Medicare with, Medicare Supplement, a Medicare Advantage plan, and then supplemental policies like dental, vision, and hearing that you can buy on a standalone basis. Another assumption, you won't need long-term care. Nolan and I have been in the business for a long time, and we see a lot of people assuming that they won't need long-term care. And if you don't have family members that are going to help you and take care of you if you do have a need to be put into a long-term care facility, it's going to be very expensive and could deplete all of your assets.
So again, if you look at those 3 different assumptions that Motley Fool put out talking about retirement, is you'll spend less in retirement time. Is, you think about it, here we work Monday through Friday, and Saturday is kind of the free day. Do you spend more money on Saturday than you do during the week?
Absolutely.
Well, that's a great point. Yes, I do spend more on Saturdays. That's when you go out and you go to maybe do some shopping, do some running, do some things you need to do that you don't get a chance to do during the week. And when you're out and about, you might grab lunch. If you're out later, you might grab dinner. And I think people spend more on the weekends than they do during the week just because of timing.
Yeah, and the great thing about retiring is every day is a Saturday, so you get to spend a little bit more. And, with working with so many retirees over the years, it's very common that they want to travel a little bit more. They want to spend more time seeing their grandkids. They want to get out there and do some different things. Maybe they want to do some home projects, get things better. So expenses can go up a lot. One of the things that we have that, we've put together is a lifetime savings calculator. So if you've ever wondered, what do I need? What's the dollar that I need to be able to be comfortable to take care of my living expenses? Make sure you ask us about our lifetime savings calculator. With that lifetime savings calculator, what we can do is look at different things like the impacts of inflation, the total value that you're going to need, and give you some ideas and suggestions on how to maybe allocate those funds. Typically in those shorter years where you're going to need the money, you maybe want to be a little bit more conservative, and then to fight off the long-term impact of inflation, that's where maybe equities could be a better solution for some of the long-term. And, Medicare obviously is a topic. Even health insurance is a topic. So those of you that are looking to even retire early, if you're listening to the show and you're, retired before the age 65, not quite Medicare age, we'd be happy to talk to you about your health insurance expense. And there's strategies on what you can do to potentially lower the cost and what your options are because of the income tests that are out there. Or even if you're maybe in your 50s and you're thinking about, I do want to retire early. The good news is if you, again, have a conversation about how to start strategically building your buckets of money for retirement, there may be some better strategies than tax deferring that money because it could be countable if you retire before age 65 under the Affordable Care Act. And the long-term care assumption, we talked to a lot of folks about that too. And it's just one of those things you never want to really talk about. It's dangerous and it's just not fun and it's not a good conversation. We don't like to get old, right? We don't like to have our hearing go away or our health decline, but unfortunately it's just a natural part. The good news is there's a lot of options available. You know, buying traditional long-term care insurance is only one option. And the sooner you take a look at addressing the issue, typically the more options that you have available. It's much better than waiting to a crisis situation.
Nolan, maybe a fourth assumption. Some people may think, hey, I'm all set. I've got Social Security kicking in, and Social Security is going to be enough for me to retire on.
Well, Social Security is definitely the foundation and the cornerstone of a lot of people's retirement. In fact, we'll talk about some specific strategies on how to maximize your Social Security to make sure that you're getting the most lifetime benefits possible with your unique situation. But you do want to kind of complement it with everything. So, final tip before we kind of go into break here. One of the softwares programs that you could take a look at is Right Capital. And what Right Capital allows you to do is it allows you to build out a plan to take a look at what your living expenses are and shows you what the probability of success of you being able to reach those retirement goals. You can sign up on your own. It's rightcapital.com. Our office has it. If you want a free code to get into it, just shoot us an email, give us a call. We'd be happy to send you a link where you could set it up on your own too and save you money, or you can sign up on your own. Again, Right Capital is some good software to take these potential myths and try to help eliminate them in your family situation.
It can be a bit of a shock to realize that the things that you thought were going to be true about your financial future are in fact not true. And that's understandable. The good news is that by being aware of it now, it's better to find out now than down the road. You can work on steps to counteract that, to say, okay, if I am actually going to be spending more in retirement, how do I generate that income? If Medicare isn't going to cover everything, how do I do that? Long-term care, again, 70% of the people out there are going to need some form of long-term care assistance. That is something you should absolutely take into account. And the team at America's Retirement Headquarters can help you out with that. To set up a time to speak with them, start developing that entire plan, that holistic plan, as we've talked about before in the show, americasretirementheadquarters.com. You can also give a call, 419-909-3319. Again, americasretirementheadquarters.com. While you're there, if you feel so inclined, feel free to RSVP for that economic update summit coming up on the 17th. But coming up after the break, we're going to talk about the big game and how you can pay for that once-in-a-lifetime bucket list item. You're listening to America's Retirement Headquarters here on News Radio 1370 WSPD and 92.9 FM. You've heard about compounding interest, your money growing over time. Albert Einstein called it the eighth wonder of the world. But as your money compounds, so does your tax bill on that money. And if no one has ever talked with you about compounding taxes, you should talk to someone who will. Nolan Baker and the team at America's Retirement Headquarters understand the big picture and can handle the areas of your finances in the most tax-efficient manner legally possible. In addition, Nolan is a fiduciary and has a legal responsibility to do what's in your best interest. If you're serious about the IRS getting as little of your IRA as possible in retirement, call 419-909-3319 to receive your complimentary tax roadmap. Why save all this money only to give a huge chunk of it back to Uncle Sam? You have better plans for it, don't you? 419-909-3319. AmericasRetirementHeadquarters.com is the website. Guys, tickets to this weekend's big game, supposedly the most expensive in history, ranging from $10,000 in the cheap seats, and I'm hesitant to call that cheap, to $61,000 on the 50-yard line. Or, if you want to indulge and treat your friends, you could have shelled out $475,000 to get a suite. So these are definitely big tickets, literally. But what would you say if a client wanted to dip into retirement to do something like this?
Well, to me personally, I would refer to it as kind of one of those bucket list items. I think those people that are listening, we all have bucket list items that we want to accomplish. Some of those bucket list items cost a lot of money, and some of them are free. It is nice to be able to do that. Life is short, right? You never know when something could happen. And if that's somebody's bucket list item and they have the financial resources to do so, then I'd say by all means, maybe if that's one of the dreams to get it checked off the list. when we build out what we refer to as the independent income system, which is, our belief and methodology of how to put together a retirement plan, oftentimes clients will tell us, I finally understand how everything all fits together. Then typically what our conversation goes to is we say, well, what could blow it up? And, one of the things that could blow it up is, as we talked about in the first segment, is an unexpected or unplanned for healthcare crisis. With the expenses of long-term care, it doesn't take long for the average family to be virtually wiped out in a long-term care spend down. But the second thing is unrealistic expectations from retirees spending their money. It's ultimately their money. They can spend it as much as they want, and they can spend it as fast as they want. Sometimes that's one of the tough jobs that we as financial professionals have to do is, say that that's an unrealistic spending goal. If somebody had $200,000 saved up and they wanted to take, $25,000 out to go to the Super Bowl, that may have a severe impact on their ability to maintain their goals. I know on a previous show that we had talked a little bit about one of the surveys where retirees took a look at feeling that it was comfortable to be able to take a 10% withdrawal rate out of their retirement account. But, in a few short years, that type of withdrawal rate, it'll really cause you to outlive your money and run out. I can also think of another client example. In fact, I was just working with some clients. They're going on a cruise for 4 months.
4 months on a boat.
Yes. I don't know that I could do 4 months on a cruise. I love cruises. We've done Alaskan cruise, done, the Bahamas. Mm-hmm. I think my problem is I sit at the ice cream too much.
Oh, there's no doubt. I've been on several cruises myself, Nolan, and I tell you what, they say 10, 15 pounds. Boy, 4 months?
Yeah, the
you'd be rolling me off of there.
I know, right?
Oh, my gosh.
So they, obviously are going to spend quite a bit of money. It's one of their bucket list items. But the good news is they have looked at this. They've planned. They've talked about it. They've looked at the impact, by running the analysis. Again, in the first segment, we talked a little bit about some software where you could utilize called Right Capital. So you can actually go in there and you can put a goal, one of those goals to be able to spend money, and you can see what the impact of that is on your plan. So maybe prior to withdrawal, if you had a 95% probability of success, if it drops to 92, maybe they feel comfortable with that.
Sure.
Maybe if they're looking at their probability of success and it goes from 95% to 70, maybe they got to think about that. Maybe they got to really question that. I would say that I was just in St. Petersburg, Tampa, about a week ago, and certainly being here in Northwest Ohio, being a little bit cold, it wouldn't be bad to get down there. I don't know that I'd drop $61,000 to sit on the 50-yard line, but I
No, come on, wait a minute. Friends, $475,000. Get a suite for us.
That's true. Take the crew, huh?
Yeah, take the whole crew. I heard on the radio the other day that there's a gentleman that has not missed a Super Bowl yet. He's, I believe he's 80 years old. He hasn't missed one. And he was able to get tickets for $2,500. He
wow.
got he's on a list for a lifetime, gets first choice and preferred list. It was kind of neat listening to his stories, and he like you, Nolan, he's a Pittsburgh fan. And they asked, well, what was your favorite Super Bowl? And he said, when Pittsburgh beat Dallas, and it's like, well, but I think that's kind of neat. And here's a guy that's 80-some years old, obviously fully retired and enjoying his retirement, and was able to secure tickets and to go to the big game.
I think the key takeaway here, Chris, is that everybody listening should have a bucket list, and every year at least work on one of those bucket list items. And as I mentioned, it doesn't have to be something that's ultra expensive. For myself personally, one of the things that I talked years about with my son was climbing a mountain. It took a lot of energy and strength and training to get in shape for that. It wasn't ultra expensive. In fact, we took a train ride from here to Toledo to Santa Fe, New Mexico, and went and lived in the wilderness, so it wasn't really expensive. But again, bucket list item. This year, I'm going to take my youngest son. We're going to go down to Marathon Keys, Florida, and we're going to row 5.5 miles out to a deserted island and live on a deserted island for a week and try to do these bucket list items. So the key takeaway is do something special every year because life is short, and take time to enjoy it, whether it is something low cost. If it's going to be something that's going to be expensive, I would always recommend just run the numbers, consult with a professional, check it out before you sign up for it. The dreaded phone call of, hey, I just bought a $90,000 timeshare.
Right.
It's not the time to ask after the fact.
Life is short. And if I were to row to a secluded island, it would be a lot shorter for me. I'm not too proud to admit my shortcomings, and believe me, rowing, I give you credit for that. Climbing a mountain, I'm thinking that 4-month cruise is looking a lot more inviting to me than rowing a boat to an island.
Whatever it is you want to achieve in retirement, again, that is entirely up to you. That is some homework you have to do beforehand before you come in and speak with America's Retirement Headquarters. Figure out what it is, because they're not going to tell you what your bucket list is. You bring your hopes and your dreams, and then you try to figure out how to make that into a reality. Me personally, if I spent $10,000 for a ticket to a game, it doesn't matter if my favorite team is playing my second favorite team. The whole time I'm there, I would be thinking about that $10,000 and how else I would spend that. But I'm not wired that way. But there are people out there who certainly are, and whatever it is you want to achieve, figuring out how to make it into a reality, whether it is a cheap bucket list item or a more costly one, a more high-ticket one, all comes down to developing a plan and figuring it out. America's Retirement Headquarters can help out with that. 419-909-3319 is how you put together the entire plan, or going online to americasretirementheadquarters.com. We mentioned Social Security earlier in the show, and MarketWatch actually asked a group of retirees what advice they would give people who are getting ready to leave the workforce, and one of them said, you need to know your Social Security potential. So what does that phrase actually mean, Social Security potential?
One of the classes that we teach is talking about the topic of Social Security optimization, and of course we'll have a couple of those events this year where we'll go over it. I think a lot of people don't realize is they assume that they should just start Social Security right at retirement time. I saw a statistic that roughly 70% of people take Social Security before what is considered their full retirement age. And so what that means is that they're taking a lifetime penalty by drawing benefits early. They also oftentimes don't realize that that lifetime penalty not only applies to them, it could also apply to your spouse for things like survivor benefits. So Social Security optimization is taking a look at, what is the best approach based upon your family situation. As I mentioned earlier, Social Security should and could be the cornerstone of your retirement. If you take those payments and you add them up over the course of a married couple's lifetime, it's as much as $1 million.
Sure.
So a lot of people, if you're listening, if you don't have $1 million saved up in your retirement account, think about the fact that the decision that you make with Social Security could be $1 million decision. And the decision that's made between the best case and worst case scenario can be hundreds of thousands of dollars of missed opportunities or, lost income if you don't make the right decision. So I think before you make a Social Security choice, you really want to have an analysis done on the Social Security optimization to figure out what could be kind of the best strategies. Sometimes it makes sense to draw a spousal benefit. Sometimes it makes sense to delay your own benefit and live off of your investments in the early years.
Nolan, one of the things that I run into a lot, obviously with the Medicare, is the most confusing things for a lot of people are, when should I take Social Security? They just don't know. And, the Medicare, obviously, health insurance and Medicare is always confusing to everybody. That's why I do what I do. But I'm shocked at the number of people that just don't know what to do, and they make a decision without consulting with someone. And, I see it every single day. And it can be, you owe it to yourself to at least sit down and go through the Social Security optimization and see what's the best option for you. Because there are ways to put that off, taking your Social Security with some other resources that you may have. I see it every day, and it's something that I think you owe it to yourself to at least talk to someone, if nothing else, to reconfirm what your thoughts are and say, yeah, you know what, you're spot on. You're right on target with what your thoughts are.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we have the software to run a Social Security optimization report. As Scott mentions, go on Google, do your own research. A lot of people think, well, I'm going to go to the Social Security office, I'll get advice from them. But what they don't realize is that, there's great people at the Social Security office, but their job is not to advise you on what a lifetime strategy is. Their job is to help you apply for your benefits and get you the maximum income for the day that you want to apply.
Right.
And again, that may not be the best situation over the course of your lifetime, especially for a married couple. So Social Security optimization is, again, a great way to be able to try to increase how much predictable income you have, and it should be a cornerstone for your future. Just again, one more area to take a look at, kind of bringing it all together and creating the total plan for you.
When it comes to selecting when and how to claim your Social Security, this is not something that should be done lightly. It's not as easy as picking, what movie you're going to watch on Netflix this week or what cereal you're going to buy at the supermarket. Those mistakes, if you make a mistake, it's 2 hours of your time. It's however long it takes to get through a box of cereal in your house. But Social Security, once you do it, you can't undo it. And again, if you're potentially missing out on hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost income, it's definitely a measure twice, cut once sort of situation. And the team at America's Retirement Headquarters can help you out with that, as with many different factors in your retirement. But all it takes to get started is picking up the phone and giving a call, 419-909-3319, or going online to americasretirementheadquarters.com. While you're there at America's Retirement Headquarters, you can also check out the podcast on Spotify, iTunes, whatever your podcast medium of choice is. And you can check out this show as well, because we've come to the end of another edition of America's Retirement Headquarters with Nolan Baker and Scott Kirshner. As always, we appreciate you taking the time. Hope you have an excellent week ahead of you. And guys, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with the final word.
Well, I have one real quick question for you, Nolan. I know Pittsburgh will not be in the Super Bowl, but you got to pick somebody. Give me your choice.
Going for Tampa Bay. I was just down there, so I got a root for the Florida.
Okay. Chris, how about you?
You can't pick against Brady. I don't like saying it, but
hey, Deflategate. I tell you what, he kind of scorned me a little bit on that. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go against Brady. KC.
Everybody out there, enjoy your week, enjoy the game, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
America's Retirement Headquarters is located at 1700 Woodlands Drive in Maumee, Ohio. You can reach them by calling 419-909-3319 or online at americasretirementheadquarters.com. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Nolan Baker is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Please consult with your attorney, accountant, and or tax advisor for advice concerning your particular circumstances. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Nolan Baker, Ohio Insurance License Number 27787.